So let's talk about the example of Diffie-Hellman algorithm. Alice and Bob will basically agree upon a prime number. In this case, the prime number is 23 and the primitive root is 5. We have looked at the calculation of the primitive root, and 5 generates all the numbers from 0 to p minus 1. P was 23, so 0 to 22. So we can say that 5 is indeed the primitive root of this prime number. There can be other primitive roots for the prime number 23, but for this example, we are considering it as 5. Now Alice and Bob will generate private keys. These private keys will be randomly generated, and the value of these private keys will be less than the prime number. So Alice will generate a private key A is equal to 4, and Bob will generate a private key B is equal to 3. Now with the help of these private keys, Alice and Bob will compute the public key. The formula for computing the public key is g to the power of a mod p, where g is the primitive root, a is the private key that was generated, and p is the prime number. So 5 to the power of 4 mod 23 gives us 4. So x is the public key of Alice, and that has the value 4. Similarly, we can compute the public key of Bob. So y will be computed as g to the power of b mod p, where g is the primitive root, b is the private key of Bob, and p is the prime number. So that will give us 10. So x is equal to 4 and y is equal to 10. Now Alice and Bob will exchange these public keys. So Alice will receive Bob's public key, that is 10, and Bob will receive Alice's public key, that is 4. With the help of these public keys, Alice and Bob will compute the symmetric keys. The formula for computing that is y to the power of a mod p, where y is the public key of Bob, a is the private key of Alice, and p is the prime number. So that will give us 18. Similarly, we can compute this shared symmetric key for Bob, and that will give us 18 as well. So 18 is our shared secret key. I hope you got the example. Now let's look at the advantages of Diffie-Hellman algorithm. The sender and receiver, they don't need to have any prior knowledge of each other. And once the key is exchanged, the communication of the data can be done through an insecure channel. Basically, what we are trying to say is that sharing of the secret key is safe. We are not actually sharing the key, we are generating it at each end. So we are only sharing information that is public, and with the help of that, we are generating the key at Bob and Alice's side. Let's look at the disadvantages of Diffie-Hellman algorithm. This algorithm cannot be used for asymmetric key exchange. The formula for computing is surely asymmetric, but the key that is generated, the shared secret that is, it is symmetric. Similarly, it cannot be used for signing digital signatures, as it requires an encryption algorithm, and key exchange algorithm cannot be used for signing digital signatures. Since we are not authenticating any party in the transmission, the Diffie-Hellman key exchange is susceptible to man-in-the-middle attack. So what is man-in-the-middle attack? Here I've taken a very trivial example, which so you can get a basic overview of man-in-the-middle attack. Let's suppose that Chris is an intruder. So Alice will say to Bob that send over your key. Chris will somehow intercept this message and then forward it to Bob. Now Chris will ask Bob that send over your key. Here Bob has no idea that it is actually Chris who is asking for the key and not Alice. Bob will send the key thinking that it is sending the key to Alice. Chris will now replace this key with his own key and then send that key to Alice. Alice, not knowing that the key she has received is from Chris, will send her account number. Chris will replace this account number with his own account number and then send it to Bob. And Bob will transfer money to the wrong account. So how can we prevent this man-in-the-middle attack? It can be prevented using public key certificates. So what are public key certificates? They're basically the proof of ownership of a public key. We can basically prove and we can basically establish that this public key belongs to Alice, this public key belongs to Bob. So any intrusion can be detected and this attack can be prevented. Now, what are the uses of Diffie-Hellman algorithm? In addition to generating the public keys, there are other places where Diffie-Hellman algorithm can be used. It can be used for encryption, and one of the first schemes that did encryption using this method was El-Gamal encryption. Whenever the two parties share a password, a key agreement can be used, and this key agreement can be in the form of Diffie-Hellman algorithm. Now let's look at the concept of forward secrecy. Forward secrecy based protocols basically generate new key pairs for each session, and they discard these pairs at the end of session. In these secrecy protocols, more often than not, Diffie-Hellman key exchange is used. Now let's consider that we are only using a single private key for our encryption, and if this private key somehow gets compromised, then the information leakage can be catastrophic. Now if you were generating private keys randomly for each session. And even if the private key is compromised, well, then the information leakage will be only for that session. And for forward secrecy, we use Diffie-Hellman key exchange. The keys that we are generating, they are basically ephemeral, which means that they last for a short period of time. And so we can achieve perfect forward secrecy. I hope you got the concept.